Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Sorry it's been so long. I've had some more computer issues, got them resolved. So here we go with Anafenza. Now, this is the dead Anafenza. After we went back or Sarkin went back and changed time. Reading her, was kind of unsure how to go with her. She's a pretty good two drop, and that right there, that phrase stuck in my head, two drop. White has always had a pretty good two drop. And I realized that, you know what? I haven't done a two drop deck, so let's do a two drop deck. That's what I did. Anyway, we got Anafenza here. She triggers on uh, non token creatures, so, something's getting bigger. So that encourages us to play with lots of creatures. Now, as I mentioned, White's always been really, really good at the two drop. White Knight is the absolute pinnacle. He was the first. Protection from black is not a thing anymore. Now, I'm not sure if y'all have seen the Dominaria spoilers, but hexproof from black is apparently a thing. It's whatever. Anyway, White Knight's good. Shortly thereafter, the White Knight, we got the Order of Lightbeer, or Lieber, Fallen Empires, and then almost an identical copy in Ice Age. Now, of course, more recently, of course, we got the Solitary Priest. By the way, I love the treatment that they did those particular foils. It's hard to see, but I love that shimmery stuff. They don't do that anymore because it was cool, I guess. Anyway, um, I'm just going to roll through quite a few of these. Thalia's Lieutenant is amazing. Not as amazing as Thalia herself, of course. I don't have an extra Thalia, so that's why she's not in here. The Smuggler's Copter. While not a creature, it's not going to trigger your bolster thing, but it is still a pretty decent two drop. Sigil Paladin. Knight of the Holy Nimbus. Almost said hokey pokey there. It just, it was in my. Um, Unruly Mob, I really like. I actually played this in Standard, which I guess is probably a reason why, I didn't do that well. But hey, you get something coming and a going. So the Field Surgeon is going to, we can tap a bunch of dudes, prevent a bunch of damage. I mean, it seems pretty solid. Let's see if we can't move this to where that shadow is not there. We were going to have a shadow or a glare, it looks like. Anyway, we've got Whip Quarter. Tapping creatures. A little bit of removal in the form of the Realist. When you just got to get through, Blinding Mage will do the trick. War Priest of Thune is another removal spell. Let's get our Air Force going with the Angelic Curator. The Freewind Falcon, which has pro red, and his the Dusk Rider Falcon with pro black. Now, really, I mean, melee on a 1/1 seems like almost a waste, but a lot of these creatures are not going to stay at their printed power and toughness because every time, obviously, our first one we're going to cast is Anafenza, and then at that point, everything is going to something. Every time you play a creature, something's getting bigger. So, Glory Bound, Vizier. Vizier is not bad. I mean, he's great in decks that abuse -1/-1 counters, obviously, but he's not bad regardless. There are a lot of strategies that this just absolutely shuts down. The Adorned Pouncer, Sunstriker, everybody's favorite Hyena. Now, Shadow is one of those things that we did not realize how good we had it when we had it. I didn't realize it as how big of a deal Shadow was back then when we were opening Tempest packs. But now looking back at it, to make it, wow, it was, it was pretty good. Oros Explorer is going to double as your land fetcher. Oh, I forgot some of the Air Force here. Pegasus. Now, the reason why I chose this particular Pegasus is it is a 2 power flyer for 2 mana, so that's really good. Like the Core Skyfisher, we're getting. Let's see if we can get the whole card in here now. The Core Skyfisher is pretty good. It allows you to recast one of your other creatures to get another bolster trigger. Same as White Mane Line. I've always been a fan of Longbow Archer, just because it can block that dragon. Now it's straight up going to die, but it saves you that one turn. Serene Master. I love it. Soltari Emissary can, get Shadow if you want it. I think this was one of the better cards that interact with Shadow, or the Shadow ability anyway, because it can have the best of both worlds if it were. And we're having trouble focusing, apparently. Do I need to get all manual on it? There we are. The Bonkin. And this really makes the deck. Simply because, the bolster adds the counter. This guy makes them all have first strike. A lot of you Pop Knights and stuff have already first strike anyway, but this guy's really good. Especially if you can give, like, your Bushido guy that already has Pro Black first strike. It's really cool. The Disciple of Grace and of Law are just cyclers with protection if you need the card draw or not. The Thraben Heretic is not bad. This is, yeah. I love that selected targeted graveyard removal, because that's pretty integral, because as soon as they cast the Animate Dead, and I'm going to get back this, you know what? No, you're not. And our last creature, well, ish, is the Knight of Glory. The actual last creature here is, of course, the Mannequin. That's in my mana rock pile, which is not that deep. It's Mannequin and Marble Diamond, and I also run a blinding Boots of Blinding Speed. What do we get? Lightning Greaves. Yeah, too much Morrowind, I guess. Now, spells, 2-drop spells. Well, first off, I want to go with one of my absolute favorite combos of all time is Hollow Ground. Now, Hollow Ground, great card. Well, okay, decent card. It just lets you bounce lands if you get that landfall trigger, or you use Glacial Chasm. Now, granted, it's going to eat a land every time you play it, but that's okay because we don't have anything in our deck over 2 mana. So we keep playing mana, and you play your Glacial Chasm, it eats a land. You may pay for it a couple turns until you can build up or you have an answer, what have you. You bounce it and restart the process over, reset those age counters that the cumulative upkeep gives. Yeah, I really kind of like it. Now, another all-star is Return to the Ranks. Now, Return to the Ranks, technically this does classify in my book as a 2-drop, even though we're going to spend 4 on it every single time. Oh, no, it's not the one I thought it was. We're going to spend, like, all of it. But mana cost 2 or less, straight to the battlefield. This is your Wrath recovery system. Peace and Quiet is going to get rid of 2 enchantments. Now, I do have quite a bit of enchantment hate, or artifact enchantment. We've got the Disenchant, and we have the Divine Offering. Tariff, I don't think gets enough love, including from me. I mean, it's a decent card. it's going to kill the worst. I mean, everybody chooses a creature with the highest casting cost. They pay that mana, or it dies. Um, which, by the way, bury is a term they used to use that it was destroy without possibility of regeneration. So indestructible folks don't really care because they haven't updated the wording on bury since they don't use it anymore. It still uses the term destroy. Now, Celestial Purge, a little bit of removal, just like Celestial Flare. I've got some pacifism going on. Now, Blind Obedience is a good card, but what I really want to talk about is Extort. Now, it does kind of feel dirty wrong that Extort is allowed in monocolored decks, but due to the EDH rules, the mana symbols being in the reminder text does not affect a card's color identity. So, mono black decks can have Extort, and mono white decks can have Extort. It does feel kind of wrong, but it's taken me a while to accept it. However, the other day, I was playing with my play group, and I actually did not know that I extorted somebody out of the game. It was late game. I kept on extorting, and then all of a sudden they scoop, and I was like, "What's up?" He's like, "I was at one, dude." It's better than you think. It's better than you think. Uh, Planar Collapse is our 2-mana Wrath. That's right. In the off chance that somebody has a bigger, better board presence than you, you know, it's you play it this turn and it's going to wrath next turn. Now, granted, it's out there for a full cycle and can get blown up, but things happen. The same thing with Serenity. I really like Serenity. Now, granted, you're only getting a 1-mana discount here because no, Tranquility Serene, but it only hits enchantments. Since we don't have that many artifacts, I figured nuking all of them was fine too. But Serenity was really good in blue-white decks where you could play Serenity and then take an extra turn. But here, it's just, all right, guys, this is what's going to happen. We got Lightning Blow, which is more or less a removal spell. Now, granted, Lightning Blow is terrible. By the way, guys, this is what rares used to look like. Yeah, Lightning Blow is rare. Feat of Resistance. It goes with the whole +1/+1 counter thing. Glorious Charge is our one-shot anthem. The Shield. I love this because, I mean, it's essentially free, and nothing bad has ever happened out of alternate play costs, right? Well, Convoke's been out for a while, and we haven't exactly broke it yet, so that's acceptable, I guess. Angel Song. A lot of these cards were, you'll see that I've got it in foil simply because they're, I ain't really using them anywhere else. Angel Song. It cycles, so it's never a dead card in hand, and it's a fog. And it's not a bad fog at 2 mana. We have Shelter. Here again, protection and drawing a card. Illumination is the last card that people expect out of the white player. Granted, it's arguably a worse disenchant. I say worse because disenchant just flat out kills it. They don't gain any life. However, situationally, illumination doesn't allow it to come into play, so it's not going to trigger, ETB effects or things like that. So I don't know. That's why I'm running both. I really like illumination because it's one of those cards that nobody sees coming. We have Blessing. We're going to have tons of white mana here, and even if nothing else, we throw it on Anafenza and we go to town. We have Honorable Passage. Now, I love that you can prevent the damage to a target creature, not just one of yours. Yeah, to you, you got that, that's fine. But Honorable Passage is I really, really like it. You can politically save someone else's creature, especially if you know the damage is red. Or I mean, it's pretty neat. We have Gossamer Chains. Now, Gossamer Chains is another one that I have always kind of leaned on. It is great in those enchantment decks that you get stuff when you cast enchantments, so you can just return it. If nobody's attacking you and it's the turn before, you can just, hey, that guy's going to deal no damage, so that I can recast Gossamer Chains again, and it's really neat. I kind of like it. But in here, we're not getting that bonus, so it's just more or less a 2-mana maze effect, if you will. Have reverse polarity, because the best color of Magic is colorless, and we all know it. Artifacts, dominate the format, and as well they should. They're amazing. But this puts Breya in her place. Or Traxa, although in Traxa you're hardly ever getting beat up with the Traxa herself. But anyway, reverse polarity is pretty good. The last card I have is a blast from the past. Abeyance used to be the absolute go-to. Long before EDH was invented, I mean, back in Mervlight, what we call the Mirage Visions Weatherlight block, uh, there was this crazy deck, Prosperous Bloom, and it ran 1 or 2 copies of Abeyance that you just started the turn out with so that they couldn't counterspell your Junt, and it was just amazing. It does replace itself. Now, there's a lot of things that you can, but typically that's what it's for. I'm going to go off this turn, and you're not going to do anything about it because they just can't counter. Now, in our format, it is target player. That is not that much of a drawback because generally at the table, even in a 4 or 5, 6 person game, you've got that one player who is Mr. Counterspell. You know what I'm saying? So you generally don't have to worry about everybody. By the time that you're ready for this, you can. Or the beautiful part is, what I have done is this is almost a time walk. I'll wait till that person's upkeep and be like, hey, abeyance you. You can't play sorceries. Abilities require an activation cost. That includes tapping your artifacts for mana. That include, it's pretty strong. They can still cast planeswalkers, enchantments, and creatures, things like that, and they can still attack. But there again, if it's pretty obvious when the combo player's about to go off. You pretty well see it. You can be like, you know what? Here you go. Take a turn off. Anyway, that is what I have got for today in my 2-drop deck. Don't really, it's not a lot to it. I do apologize for the large gap in time and for the fact that this makes 2 mono white decks in a row. But I appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. But right now, we're going to shuffle and cut.